In Climate Watch, as voters decide who to cast their ballot for this Super Tuesday, there's one important issue factoring into their decision: climate change. CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist Jeff Berardelli joins me now.
Communities in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland are cleaning up after major weather events today and over the weekend. People in Melbourne are being told to prepare for more heavy rain after a deluge hit the city's east, bringing flash floods and large hailstones. In central western New South Wales, a huge dust storm has swept through several towns, and parts of Queensland have also been drenched. For more on this, we have Jennifer Browning in Dubbo, George Roberts is in Brisbane, and Amelia Terzon joins us from Melbourne. Amelia, to you first, what has been the impact of the wild weather?
Well, so far there's been 1,500 call-outs in the last 24 hours due to this wild weather. The majority of those call-outs have been here in Melbourne, where we saw hailstones hitting some parts of the city yesterday. Some of those hailstones were so big they were the size of 20-cent coins, and we had these staggering images of hail layering people's backyards so thick that it looked like snow. Apart from that hail, there's also been a significant amount of downed trees across Melbourne's east. More than 100 of those call-outs to the SES were for downed trees, in areas like Balwyn and Templestowe. Some streets there have been left without power. So as well as those call-outs, there's also been a lot of rain for some areas. So Melbourne overall got 26 millimetres last night, but while that weather has been very wild, it was also very patchy. So some areas like the east of Melbourne got those hailstones, where other parts barely got a bit of rain. So very patchy weather here, and definitely a lot of damage and a lot of cleanup still happening today.
Are there likely to be more storms today?
Well, there is currently a severe weather warning in place for at least half of Victoria, including here in Melbourne, where, again, the Bureau of Meteorology is saying people should prepare for more wild weather here today. There is even the chance that there could be some hailstones, although not as huge a chance as there was yesterday. So here, people are being warned to batten down the hatches, to take down things that could move in their backyards and prepare for that weather. But again, like we saw yesterday, this weather could be very patchy again. Some parts could be hit with more large deluges of rain, where other parts could just miss out entirely. There is also the possibility that this wild weather could hit the fire zones in the east of Victoria. Some parts have already received quite a downing of rain, but while that could be good news for the fire front, some areas could even get flash flooding, which could make fighting those fires more difficult. So a lot of areas will be on high alert here today in Victoria.
Let's go to Dubbo in central west New South Wales now for more on the dust storm. Reporter Jennifer Browning joins us. Jennifer, it still looks quite dusty and windy there now. What happened?
Yes, Karina, as you can see behind me, the wind and the dust certainly hasn't gone away. About 6 o'clock last night, this epic dust storm, apocalyptic you could say, began to roll in from Broken Hill to Nyngan, Warren and Dubbo and Parkes. These towns were blanketed in thick dust, and it was quite a sight to behold. We've seen a lot of vision of the dust storm rolling in, spectacular and horrendous at the same time. It quickly turned day to night, and for many people in this community who were praying and hoping for the forecast of rain, unfortunately it arrived in the form of a dust storm, leaving people's houses completely coated in dust. If you'd cleaned on the weekend, you could draw on your kitchen bench this morning.
Yeah, you said spectacular but horrendous. Just how bad was it?
Yeah, it was pretty horrible. I was out in the middle of it as was happening. As you can see, it's blowing up behind me right now. My cameraman desperately trying to hold on to the tripod. But last night, as you drove along it, it was something out of a movie like Twister or Dorothy. We'd taken the dog out for a run and watched it roll in and managed to just get home in time before it hit. But as I said, it turned day to night very quickly. A thick orange haze and it left about a ½ centimetre of dust on your veranda, and we've even taken to blower vacuuming the kitchen out now. It's that bad.
Yeah, I've been following you on social media and some of the videos that you've been posting from other locals as well. They're just incredible pictures. What have other locals been telling you about their experience and whether they've seen any damage?
Well, there has been a few calls made to the SES here in Dubbo, 3 overnight, and a local school in Dubbo has also been damaged with a roof going off a building and some playground equipment. A lot of people have said this is very rare, especially in Dubbo. We know there's dust storms regularly out in Broken Hill and that, but we've had about 6 of these in the past fortnight, and one lady was speaking to us this morning who said she'd counted about 2 of this magnitude in the past 2 decades, and as I said, we've had more than a handful over the past couple of weeks. So everyone is just praying for rain. A lot of disappointed people, as I said. Wonderful to see those beautiful images of some farmers in the state receiving that much needed rain. But unfortunately, the forecast for this area of the Central West went from rain to dust very quickly.
Okay, let's go to Queensland now, where parts of that state have received a drenching over the weekend, and there is the potential for more rain this week, particularly in central and northern areas. For more, I'm joined by George Roberts in Brisbane. George, where is the rain and how much has fallen?
Well, Karina, we've seen massive downpours in the southeast towards the end of last week and over the weekend. The highest recorded downpours were around the Gold Coast, where they received about 300 mils or 300 millimetres in about 24 hours. So that's quite a drenching. But certainly some of the fire grounds have also received some rainfall, and some areas which have been, drought ravaged for years and have been the subject of bushfires over the past few months have received some rainfall. So there has been some rejoicing, but unfortunately it has done very little in terms of ending the drought. So the drought has not broken because of these rains, and some of the regions that needed it most received very little. So areas of the Scenic Rim are still pretty much bone dry, even though they received about 35 mils on Friday and about 5 mils for about 3 days before that. So there still is a drought. There still are water restrictions in place around the state, and it's hoped that some of the rain forecast might sort of improve the situation.
Yeah, some areas have been drought affected for so many years, and places like Stanthorpe are trucking in water. Has this rain helped places like Stanthorpe at all?
It has helped Stanthorpe, and the dam supplies in Stanthorpe have increased more than other areas of the state. Overall, SEQ Water, which as the name suggests is the authority for delivering most of the water from the dams and catchments around the southeast of the state, say that there's only been an increase of 0.9% in their overall supply. So that gives you an example of even though there were big downpours in some areas, it hasn't done much to fill dams overall. Stanthorpe has done better than most, but they'll still need to be on water restrictions, and they still will need to truck in water. So much more rain is needed. These downpours, as SEQ Water said, were largely soaked up by the ground, because the drought has made that ground so dry, so parched, and the ground has soaked it up rather than them flowing into the catchment.
Yeah, you said much more rain is needed, so what's the forecast for the coming days?
Well, there is a forecast for more rain throughout the week, as you said, in the north and central parts of the state. But there's also a heat wave expected here in Brisbane. And to meet the criteria of a heat wave, that means that there needs to be high temperatures for at least 3 days and unrelenting through the night. So no relief in temperatures, or very little relief in the temperatures coming down overnight for at least 3 days. So this week expected to be very hot in Brisbane, and that just sort of adds to this kind of crazy weather situation that we've got here, where we've seen bushfires, drought, drenchings, heat waves, all within the space of days and weeks.
I'm going to have to run inside in a couple of minutes or less.